Welcome into the Third and Wrong YouTube channel. It is past week 5 at this point. We have Monday Night Football underway, but we have wrapped up most of the other games. We got a lot to talk about today, but we got Mikey, we got Gage today. How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
You're so energetic about it.
I'm not energetic anymore about football.
And no one else shed a tear for the Patriots.
Nope,
Believe,
that's
believe
fine.
it or not, I didn't lose a year off of my life watching football this last week. It was nice.
There you go. I like that. Gage with the Browns with the bye week, Patriots with a back-to-back ass whooping, and the Colts went 3-1, they're 3-1 in the AFC conference as of right now. So looking pretty good for a playoff spot. But I'm happy. Just Anthony Richardson being out for about a month makes me not happy.
I think we took Cam Newton for granted because we were just like, oh, Anthony Richardson is going to be the next Cam Newton, and Anthony Richardson hasn't even been able to finish a game yet in the NFL.
Yeah,
And Cam was able to do that for like 8 years.
that's true.
It's kind of impressive.
Well,
Um,
before we get into everything, because we're going to be talking about the Browns, we're going to be talking about the Colts and the Patriots pretty in depth for the short amount of time that we have. Before we do all of that, please help us out. We're a small YouTube channel, so if you can give us a like, comment, and subscribe, you can hear our voices more often, and unfortunately see our faces more often.
yeah, I'm sorry.
But Gage, we haven't really talked about the Browns too much this year. They were just on a bye, so we'll kind of start with the Browns, and then we can get into the Week 5 teams. But what are your impressions on the Browns without Nick Chubb and what they can do this year?
Do you want in depth or do you want like quick fire hitters?
Just give us enough meat to chew on, but not to choke on.
Right there. That's my man right there, Nick Chubb. Thank you, Father, for that Christmas present.
You guys narrowly avoided a disastrous, injury with Nick Chubb. It looks better than what it could have been, but
Yeah, they said that, and then it comes out that he needs like 2 different surgeries, and he actually does need one on his ACL.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
I don't know. So yeah, that sucks. I love Nick Chubb. Obviously, if you can't tell, I've got his signed jersey back there. I've also got signed Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
So there is some love for being hated by your football team still. Um, it's okay. I've been kind of open about my feelings with Kevin Stefanski, at least amongst us, for a while.
Yeah.
I've said for a while that we're not going to win anything as with him as the head coach. He is not a head coach, and I think you're starting to see that. You talked all off season about how we're going to do these new things with Deshaun Watson, how this offense is going to look so much different with Deshaun Watson, and it's the exact same thing that Baker was fucking running. The exact same offense. Like, cool, you added Elijah Moore who does jet sweeps and runs backward for 20 yards. Like, it's just not good. The defense is amazing. The defense is finally playing the way that like we're always like, man, all these weapons, all these names, they look so good, and then you had Joe Woods, and it just looked terrible. You get somebody back there that's not like a mastermind or anything. He's running basic defense there. He's just letting them fly around and play football, and it's really nice when you don't have the ball run down your throat for 8 yards every single time the team wants it. That defense is elite. They're scary to play against. Like, they are just mean. But that offense is the exact same issues as always. There's no pre-snap motion. Stefanski has been running his same thing that he's been running the entire time, and it was figured out 2.5 years ago. If he's not fired at the end of the year, they will be firing him from being the OC and having somebody else be a play caller, because I know they do like Stefanski, but I mean, he's got to pick and choose. Like, he doesn't coach the defense at all. He finally got somebody that can do that, and the defense is playing good, and the rest of the team look dead. Like, he just needs to remove himself, take control of the whole team, and let somebody else control the offense, because there is no creativity. I like to say, like, I'm optimistic. I still think that they can be good. I just don't think that they're going to be Super Bowl winners. Like, like there's a cap, and you can tell what cap it is. You have like other offenses that make things happen, and it's got to be perfect the entire time, or it's just like nothing happens. And it shouldn't be that way. You shouldn't need to have the best offensive line, the best running back, the best wide receivers, the best quarterback, and perfect like scheme the entire time for your offense to work. That's called being bad at your job. Offensive
Yeah.
coordinators make bad situations work all the time, and he can't do it. And it's been like this for years now. But as Browns fans, no one wants to hear that because we've been firing coaches forever. So they're like, no, he's finally good. Like, keep him, keep him, keep him. And they're like, they don't want to hear anything negative. I mean, that's the truth. Kevin Stefanski has been subpar. You can blame it on every situation. At some point in time, he's got to elevate somebody. Um, I talked about it with Zach Taylor, with you guys at least. I don't know if we talked about it on the channel, but like Joe Burrow has elevated Zach Taylor for the entire time he's been in the league. I mean, Zach Taylor was one half a year away from getting fired, and then he got lucky with Joe Burrow, and they've had a good team since.
Okay.
It's frustrating.
Now that we've understood the frustration of the Browns, go on.
Also, Jed Wills sucks major ball sack.
Yeah, that's fair. I was going to ask you though. Now that we understand the woes of being a Browns fan, the AFC North had some interesting games this week. The Bengals actually used Jamar Chase this year, which is kind of interesting for them to
He's wide open.
do that.
He's always open. I'm always open.
And then you have the Steelers winning with apparently Matt Canada upset that they were able to win. So
because Kenny Pickett checked out of his play.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But what were your thoughts, real quick, on those two games?
People are like, "Man, the Ravens are dead. I don't know how the Steelers could win playoff games, or the Bengals are going." Like anything you see with AFC North football games, take what you see with those games and throw them out the effing window because they do not matter. You could put Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers on the Browns and the Steelers, and the game will look the exact same way as it did this last time. They're always crapshoots, ugly, not fun to watch games.
Yeah,
unless you just like anarchy.
Legit.
That's every
punches
game.
being thrown too by T.J. Watt.
And that's not the first time. I pissed a lot of people off online with that. A lot of fragile Steelers fans. Yeah. You had what was it? Cam Hayward last year punching Justin Herbert in the dick after he tackled him. You got them diving at kneecaps. You've had people diving at heads. You had Antonio Brown trying to kick people in the face. Believe it or not, the Steelers are just a dirty franchise. They always have been. It's okay. You can accept it.
Calling the kettle black right there too. Just
because Miles swung a helmet.
No, just that's what the AFC North is. That's the identity.
That's fair. See, that's fair. The Steelers have just been the best at it.
Yeah.
So
the Colts were able to play this week, unlike the Browns, so kind of had a fun weekend. There was a lot of Twitter beef apparently with the Titans and the Colts on Twitter, or I guess X now. There was a lot of shit talk thrown, and only half of it got backed up. But the Colts played probably their best game, just like throughout the game. Unfortunately, Anthony Richardson went down, but they actually were able to sustain drives. They were able to run the ball. They were able to pass the ball. They were able to get chunk plays. They were able to get a turnover eventually. They stopped Eric Henry. They stopped the Titans, which is one of the hardest teams to stop on a 4th and short. Stopped them too. So the Colts, I mean, they're not the prettiest team to watch. They're no Dolphins or Bills or Chiefs or even the Niners. So I don't expect them to be in the Super Bowl, but they are playing a lot better than what I think a lot of people expected out of them. So I'm excited about it. Sucks that Anthony Richardson's going to be gone, but Minshew, I think, is arguably one of the better backups in the NFL right now. It's hard to find too many people that I would put ahead of him, but still, he does lack mobility, and so we're going to have to change the offense, to kind of fit him again. But were you guys able to watch that game? What were your thoughts on the Colts?
I did not watch it.
They played good. I feel like the Titans are. I mean, they were in the AFC North at some point, and they still have that kind of football.
Well,
Whenever
with
you play
Vrabel,
with the
yeah,
Titans,
with Vrabel, yes.
Yeah, they it's just kind of like those kinds of games are just ugly. Grind it out, do what you can to win the game, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew doesn't show any like Russ. He just comes in and he plays better. the passing game is better when he's on the field, but that's just kind of to be expected because Anthony Richardson's not going to sit there and dice you up. He's going to hit you with the big bombs or the play action because he's got such a threat. And then he just hasn't had time to sit and run the NFL offense. I mean, he's played like what 2.5 games total at this point if you combine all of them. So he's still got a lot of time to work into that rhythm and routine.
The other thing too is we got back Ryan Kelly this week, but Bernhard Raimann, who's our left tackle, he has been out for the last 2 weeks. And
is he Minnesota?
He was, yeah. He came from Minnesota. The college Minnesota, not the Vikings. So, we're going to get more healthy, relatively. We also played without Shaq Leonard. So, we get some, good players back. We get to play the Jaguars this week, which I'm kind of excited for because we'll get a little bit of a revenge there.
I was going to say, you guys just played them.
Yeah.
That's quick.
It is quick. But the one thing I wanted to say that I think was really frustrating is we let another wide receiver go for 100 yards because I think we let Calvin go. I think we went with I think maybe Tank Dell and Nico Collins maybe.
Yeah, they both did.
And then we had who was our third game? Well, yeah, obviously DeAndre Hopkins this one, and then Puka Nacua also. And so we have been giving up a lot of passing yards. I mean, we've still been close in games, but I think that's the biggest thing is getting our corners to get the ball away. Stop letting them just dice us up in that middle, like below deep, but like just in that middle zone range. Our linebackers have just not been closing those lanes, so or also safeties and corners. But that I think that's the biggest weakness for the Colts. But I think they got a lot of hope this year for the Colts. I think there's a lot of hope, especially with Steichen instead of Reich over there, and I'm happy for it. Mikey.
Hold on, I want to correct you. Bernhard Raimann did not play in Minnesota. He played at Central Michigan.
Oh, I mean they look very similar. So yeah,
they are.
Thank you.
Who played in Minnesota?
Falalele.
Thank you.
Thank you for that correction.
You said that, and I was like, I don't think that's right.
It seemed right enough.
It did seem right. I was like, hold on a second. I don't know if that's right.
Try to rember the pictures we used when
Mikey's
we were doing
stalling
stuff last year.
I was stalling because yeah, I really want to talk about an ass whooping. There you go. Boom, game over. Mac Jones sucks. Wow, what a analysis by me.
Oh boy. Okay, so are you hoping that it gets turned around, or are you hoping for maybe a little bit of Jared Verse in the draft, Joe Alt in the draft? There's a few good tight ends out there.
Maybe Kirk Cousins, you guys can trade away a second for this year and bring him in. Him and Bill Belichick would combine really well.
Yeah.
But for real, I didn't get to watch the game. Obviously, missing Christian Gonzalez sucks. What else is kind of getting in the way of the Patriots?
That wasn't a game.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if it's Mac or if I don't know if it's just Bill O'Brien not figuring it out yet, or it's offense related for sure. It's one of those two. It's Bill O'Brien or it's Mac Jones, and I think it's starting to become Mac Jones because he's just an asshole, and he acts like a little prissy B word out on the field.
Good job, Mikey. Way to be a dad.
Yeah.
Oh my big words for Mikey.
Dude, I honestly think it's him. I think he's the issue. And if he doesn't sort it out, I would look to move on from him. And I pray to God that it is not Kirk Cousins, because I will not root for a team that
I think that would be the funniest thing ever. If it was Kirk Cousins, I would laugh so much.
No. I pray to God, no. I'm either tanking for Williams or at least draft somebody in this stacked class that's coming up and move on from Mac. He can't do it.
The thing is you guys need a lot of things. Like, you guys need tackles. You guys need wide receivers that can get open. I feel like that's a fair statement. Your defense is solid. Like, I don't think anyone's really complaining.
The defense is okay. It's mainly scheme, and we just have players that fit scheme, so we don't have like the top notch guys. But I mean, our defense is okay.
I watched. I mean, I watched that pretty much that whole game because I have a few Saints players on fantasy and a couple Patriots players. One side was fun to watch, the other wasn't.
No kidding.
But I mean, I've been following with the Patriots. You know, he's my best friend, known him for years. So I've paid attention to it. It's Bill Belichick to the GM.
Yeah.
Maybe not the coach, but
yeah, GM
he
Belichick
has relied on having a Hall of Fame quarterback his entire, like major run, which isn't like, oh my gosh, you can't coach without him. But when you focus on the defense and you're holding issues to the defense, and then you've got your sidekick that you trust with Mike McDaniels or Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady, he's doing the same things as he was doing before, except he doesn't have that quarterback anymore. They didn't pay their elite talent on offense. They let them move on and then filled them in with another guy. And they've been doing that. And now you're like, wait a minute, none of this is working because no one's elevating the team. And it's a lot to ask for Mac to elevate that team. That wide receiving core is the worst, if not bottom three worst receiving cores in football. I mean, he's got what? How much money has he put in the tight end position? It's like a ridiculous amount. They've got like three of them.
Jonnu Smith has gone not as much, but
it's Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry, and then who's the other one?
Mike Gesicki.
I know they did get rid of Jonnu Smith, which was a
Mike
huge...
Gesicki.
Yeah, Mike Gesicki, Hunter Henry, and then
I don't know who our third one is. I don't know. I can't remember his name.
Maybe it's not that much then.
We've been moving on from so many tight ends.
But it just seems like you're trying to run Patriots of old, and at some point in time, you kind of need to kind of like let it go.
Tight ends for the Patriots are Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, Pharaoh Brown, and Matt Sokol.
That's who it is.
Pharaoh Brown's less than $1 million. It's
but they've been using him.
Yeah, but
like they've been using him at creating play calls for him.
$5 million for Gesicki.
He's one of their weapons.
$15.5 million for Hunter Henry. He did not get a single touch yesterday.
That's not really his fault.
Zappy missed him on a wide open freaking route too. Hunter Henry, that is.
But the big thing, they've always had an offensive line, and they don't right now. They've let too many guys go.
Yeah, I know.
Over the last like 3, even 2 years.
Yeah.
They've let like their left tackle go, their center go.
No, Orlando.
No, the right
guard.
Trent
Brown. Geez, he's been there for a while now.
But really, it's...
Yeah, we let Shaq Mason go, Joe Tooney go.
There it is.
I think we let another one. Those are the first that come to my mind because they're most recent in my memory. But
kind of back to where it's kind of the fault of Bill Belichick and the GM thing. It kind of reminds me of what's going on also in Alabama, where Alabama is just not adjusting to where college football is nowadays, and like Bill Belichick isn't adjusting to where the NFL is nowadays.
Yeah.
And I think Bill Belichick thinks, like you were talking about, where we can trade back in the draft, we can select these guys out of lesser named schools and turn them into these gems, but they don't have the coaching anymore to do it. They've all been poached away or spent, a lot of time away. And I think I feel like getting 3 years away from a Super Bowl. I think that's about all the leash that Bill Belichick has. And now it's getting to a point where it's like, is this the last season for Bill Belichick?
Potentially.
Yeah, and people really underestimate it. But like coaching is so big in the NFL. That's what makes it like so entertaining and special, is because you put Patrick Mahomes on that Panthers team, or you put Patrick Mahomes on that Patriots team, not with Andy Reid, but the coaches that they have right now. I mean, they're going to play a little bit better, but it's not going to be much prettier.
But like when you had Tom Brady in there, Tom Brady was the buy-in. Like he was the shiny object of like, this is why we're going to
cheap.
Well, yeah, play for cheap, but like you're going to show up on time every single meeting. You're going to play the Patriot way. You're going to do this and that. Like the Patriots have always been a little bit more demanding out of their players. And when you don't have that and you have Mac Jones back there, like players, I feel like are just like, why? Like, I don't know.
Screw this guy.
Yeah. So I think it's got to be a culture change. Not to say that Patriots are doing anything like bad as far as like something closer to like the Raiders or something like that. Like I'm not saying they need to just kick Belichick out, but they got to learn to accept where football is now and change their game a little bit because what they're doing now is just it's getting in the way of everything else too.
And it happens quickly. Like Kevin Stefanski 4 or 5 years ago brought this new thing in for the Browns, and it got figured out within a couple years, and he hasn't changed a thing. It's the exact same that he came when he got in there. I could only imagine if you took away like the elite talent that the Browns have that aren't being used to their potential, and then you put that same thing in there where you're going to run the same thing every week that you've been doing for 20 years, basically.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work, you bring back another guy that used to be there that ran that same thing. Like there hasn't been creativity. And then in fairness, you can't really get creative with the team that Bill Belichick put around him.
So
That's
okay.
what I wanted to add is that I don't think we can maybe see the last year's Belichick as a coach, but probably
As
GM Bill.
Yeah.
GM Bill might be done, and I hope he is. I'm sorry to say that for Pats fans out there that like him as a GM, but I'm kind of getting sick and tired of it.